All right, we are live. Had a bit of an issue with the first start of it, but we're good now. Let's give it a minute. Cool. So the main thing I want to talk about today is that the new site has launched. So the site is onemanstartup.com, and I'll show you that here for a bit. But go check it out yourself as well. So the goal of the site is really to kind of just have a place to post more content that isn't necessarily videos. So kind of more resources or potentially articles later of stuff that could help with starting an app or starting a business. And so this site is going to be where all of that is going to be kind of posted. So yeah, there is a newsletter that I'm going to kind of start doing as well, and that's just going to be generally the same thing. I don't see that happening I don't really see the newsletter happening too frequently actually, so it might be like once a month to start out, and it'll just be like links or things that are that I find useful that aren't really that don't really qualify for a whole YouTube video. So it'll be just kind of maybe a link to something that you could read, and if you're interested in getting those emails, you can just sign up on the website right there. Then we have just the YouTube videos will be on the website, and you could watch them there as well. But then the cool thing also that this is all going to be starting today is this new Discord channel. So this Discord channel is something I've kind of talked about a little bit in the past, and having kind of a way that we can all talk outside of just YouTube comments, or because I mean the YouTube comments, there's definitely limits of like how you can communicate, and even if you have like specific issues with code, it's hard to really convey that in a YouTube comment. So the Discord, we're going to try out Discord here, and I haven't really used Discord actually at all before this, so we'll see how it goes. I've played around with it a little bit though, and it does seem pretty obviously intuitive. So that's going to be pretty cool. The channel should be public that you can just join it, so go ahead and join that if you're interested in discussing more stuff or discussing more details of maybe Flutter development or programming or really anything startup related or your side project app related. Then kind of a thing I talked about in the past was I did some like review videos of books, but I do feel like there are a good bit of books that can help in like so many ways. So I do have some recommended books that I would recommend you to read. This catalog will grow over time. I'll be adding some more. I'd like to have these recommended books also have a review video along with them. So some of them do already, not all of them though. So that'll be something I'm working on as well. Then we got the link to the app and the final app. So this app here, if you're kind of just joining the stream now, or if you're just kind of like new to the channel, that this app here is live now, and this is what all the videos on the YouTube channel show how to build. So you can follow along and build this exact app, or you could just download the app and then go watch videos that relate to just pieces of the app that you are trying to build into your app. And then these are essentially ads. They're kind of like exclusive offers. They're like deals, I guess, that you can get, but they also are more or less, I mean, they're affiliate links. So yeah, clicking these, if you're looking for a domain and you click this and buy a domain, then I'll get a small commission. You'll get a good deal on your domain. So it's win-win there. But yeah, I don't want this to be like flooded with ads. So these are that's kind of like all it is for that. Also, the book links are also affiliate links. So if you are looking to actually buy the book and you use the affiliate link, that helps as well. But that is so yeah, that's generally the site. Then so we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's pretty simple right now. I don't think there's much on it that is actually going to be like useful to you right now, but it is like kind of the base of what this site will become, and I plan to build a good bit more into this site. So yeah, I'll see how that goes. The Discord server, I'm pretty hopeful for as well, to see how that goes. And who knows? I mean, maybe we don't really use it. Maybe no one really uses it much, and that's fine too. And then it'll just be there. But yeah, let's see what we got in the comments here. So yeah, I'm doing good. Good morning. And yeah, the movie. Yeah, the videos probably is what you mean, like the videos. Yeah, no problem there. Let me get this changed up. But yeah, I guess we could do questions. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about Flutter II, which was just announced this week. Flutter II, I actually haven't really gotten too much time to look that deeply into it. One thing that seems quite like exciting with this whole release of all this new stuff is native ads. So we're gonna be able to put actual native ads in our Flutter apps. So that I think is gonna be huge, because I've done some ad videos, the ad mob videos, and definitely they're not the way that we would want them. I think most people who have followed that or have tried to put ads into their Flutter app realize that there's really no way to put them in the widget tree, which native ads will allow you to do that. So that's kind of exciting. I think that is going to be like a huge benefit. So that's something I'm going to be looking into quite soon, and hopefully get a video out showing how that works. Yeah, inline banner is also good. So yeah, I haven't looked too much into it, so I'm assuming that now maybe you can put a banner ad inline, if that's possible. I mean, that would be great as well, because yeah, right now the banner ads can only go on top of like the content, either on the bottom or the top, which actually isn't great. And yeah, I'm not sure with the native ads if you need native code. But inline banner ads were not a thing. So if that's new and that's working now, then that would be yeah, I don't know. Either way though, I'll be looking into that more. Also now you can distribute your Flutter app on like multiple more platforms, so that's pretty cool. And it kind of shows that like this, like Flutter is going to stay. Flutter's going to be here to stay. You know, there's going to be like Google's using it more. There's more development within it, and now that it's getting all these other platforms on, or now it's going to have all this support for all these other platforms. Like I think I saw Ubuntu is going to be like the default engine for making a Ubuntu app. So that is pretty cool. And I mean, that this is still like pretty the early days of Flutter, actually, when you look at it from that perspective. Like we're on Flutter 2 now, but like probably once we get towards like Flutter 4, 5, or 6, that's when it's going to be like very widely adopted. So it's cool, I think, to be in it at this like earlier stage. And kind of, I mean, if you think about it, when people are looking, like if you're looking for a job and you read those job descriptions and it's always asking for like, 5 years of experience in a certain programming language, if you're learning Flutter now, you're going to essentially be one of the most experienced Flutter developers by the time that Flutter is like the standard, if it becomes the standard. I mean, I don't think it's that widely adopted yet, but I think it definitely still has a lot of potential to become that. Yeah, Toyota is using Flutter, and that's cool too. Like, I mean, if you can export your app to like a car OS, then I mean, all these cars now, like the electric cars especially, are going to need way more like app components to them, because especially if like self-driving happens, you're going to be able to just sit in your car. So like that's kind of where driving is going. If that trend actually plays out, then your car is going to become basically like an entertainment center, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for like new apps in on that platform. Essentially, it's a whole different platform. It's not like you can make games that are completely different than what like a mobile app game would be, or even a video game. So definitely a lot of opportunity, I think, still with Flutter. And it's cool to see that they're still pushing a lot of changes on that. Because I know like one big fear that a lot of people think is, or a lot that's brought up a lot, is that Flutter is going to die out and Google's just going to stop supporting it and kill it. And which is valid, because Google does that to a good bit of its projects. But I mean, with this Flutter 2 discussion and release, it seems like that is like so much less likely to happen now. And also with these other companies getting involved, like I saw something like Microsoft is contributing to Flutter now in some ways. So now that some of these other really big companies are contributing to it as well, it's going to be even less likely that it will die off. But yeah, null safety is good as well. And probably I'll do a video about that, the null safety stuff. Yeah, the cars. I mean, the cars is cool. It's cool if they're doing it for the car, and then if you imagine like any other new medium that we get, like if we get virtual reality, I think as someone mentioned, like AR. I don't think AR is working in Flutter right now. So does AR, like, will it be good in Flutter in the future? Potentially. I mean, that is kind of what, like, based on this like Flutter 2 announcement, that's what it kind of seems like. They're going to eventually be trying to get it on every platform. Like, I would imagine that's their goal. But no, I mean, I don't think you can. I mean, maybe you can. I haven't really looked too much into it. If you can like make an AR app with Flutter right now, I would have actually, AR. I would imagine you could, because it's really just using your camera and then like imposing something on the video stream that you're capturing. But if we have like AR glasses or products like that in the future, it would be cool if Flutter is still the language that we can use to, or a language option that we could use to build those apps. So should you start Flutter and Dart as your first programming language? I think it's a good option, but it does depend what you want to build and what your goal of your, like what is your goal of learning programming? Do you want to go get a job at a tech company? If that's like your main goal, then Flutter might not be the best choice right now, and that's only because not that many people are using it in their production apps yet. So that is one thing to consider. Like I don't know that a lot of people. I mean, based on some of the forums I read, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are having that easy of a time getting jobs as a Flutter developer. But if you want to just learn how to code and build your own apps, then Flutter is a really good choice. Like, it's a really good choice if you're trying to build an app yourself and you want it on iOS and Android. Then it's 100% use Flutter. But and then again, I mean, even more like Flutter now, Flutter Web, the stable version just came out, which that is still, I haven't played around with it much, but Flutter Web is not, I don't think yet, a good replacement for like any of these other web stacks that are out there. And it's just because it's still so new. But if you're trying to build like a website, I wouldn't really recommend Flutter at this point, but that might change soon. I mean, that seems like it is changing, because ideally you'll build your app and then you'll have your website as part of your app. And that is what Flutter is promising. So But yeah, self-driving cars will need entertainment apps for sure. I mean, that's what they'll become. And yes, you could use your phone while you're in the car, but I'm sure a lot of these cars are going to optimize their own entertainment stuff and their own like subscriptions and like have their own app store, essentially their own ecosystem. Yeah, marketing an app, that's definitely something I've talked about covering more, and I do still plan to do that. The cheapest way to start though is to share the app with like your circle, right? So like share the app that you have on all your social medias, and then that can start to get you some traction. That can get you like some initial downloads. And then also other like free ways are looking for, depending on the what kind of app you have and like the niche of your app, looking for some free like for free options, like looking for some communities that app would relate to, like maybe on Reddit or Facebook groups. And this is like tricky because you don't want to be like spammy, when you don't want to be, you need to like follow their guidelines because a lot of them are non self-promoting communities. But if your app solves a problem for people and you can find those people that are already in a group that have that problem, then getting that app in front of them is a good way to, definitely a good way to start. And then yeah, I mean, then after that you can do like paid ads, but those are, if your app doesn't have like any type of like business structure in that it can, in that it's like making money, then the paid ads is not going to be necessarily worth it unless you have money to spend just to acquire users. Yeah, exactly. Like Flutter is not for websites, but oh yeah, like websites versus web apps. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like though it will be down the line like available or able to do websites as well. But maybe that's like so out of the scope of what they're trying to do. Either way, it is cool though that you can like compile your same code and it'll be a web app that essentially runs the same as your mobile app. Hello. So I heard people saying in the upcoming 2 to 3 years, you can build almost any kind of app or software by using Flutter. What's your opinion? Yeah, I mean that's definitely where it seems like it's going, based off of this new announcement with this Flutter 2, and they're adding support for all these new platforms. It definitely seems like that's where Google and the Flutter team want to take it, and I mean it makes sense. Like that's such a good solve for like the development process, right? Like if you can build your app in one code base, and yes, maybe you'll have to add like some native components or some specific native code for different elements of it, which for Android and iOS you don't need to do that at all. I mean, there are things you could do, but you don't need to do that to get your Flutter app set up and live. Other than I guess some of like the configuration to actually like compile it, but it's not like, I don't think that is too, I mean it's not difficult, which is nice. So yeah, I mean my opinion now, like after this Flutter 2 stuff, is definitely in line with what that is saying. Like in 2 to 3 years, yeah, I could definitely see Flutter being like, I could see it being like the most popular framework to use just because of that. Like just because you can, like one person essentially can build an app that gets distributed everywhere, which I think is really the main draw to it. Like that's the main benefit of Flutter for sure. Can I buy a MacBook Air M1 for development and video editing? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why not. I haven't used the M1, but I don't even know if they have. Is the MacBook Air the M1 or yeah, I guess right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have one, so I can't say if everything works on it. But I mean, I'm sure if you go and read some forums, people are reviewing those like all the time. Anyone who has one, it seems like anyone who gets one reviews it. So the M1 chip does seem like a huge, also like potential. Like in the future, it's going to be basically like Apple is eventually going to replace all the Intel chips on their computers with these M1 or these their own chips. They're not. I'm sure they're not going to be like M1 chips. They're going to be M something else. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But I think probably right now it's still such the early stages of that. Like I think some things are still not compatible, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. So my basic web app is 2 MB download, not exactly page speed optimized. So is that, you mean you have a Flutter app that is like a web app? That's pretty cool. Um, yeah. Can you tell about the workflow of MobX for state management? I'm not sure. I've never used it. I don't know. I don't know the specifics of it, so no. So make a video for Flutter REST API integration, app with login and registration, and other CRUD operations. Yeah, maybe, but I don't. I feel like it's almost a waste of time to develop. It's like to some degree, it's almost a waste of time to develop that backend yourself when you could just use Firebase or one of the other cloud platforms. I don't know. I mean, why is it that is it cost? That's the main reason that you don't want to use those, or is your app already, do you already have a backend set up? Like if that's maybe the case, like you already have a web app with everything set up and you just want to make a mobile app that can connect to that through the API. But if you go actually to this new Discord server, I created a channel that is for like video recommendations. So I do normally keep track of these when people like ask for these videos, but I'm going to be using that kind of as the main thing now. So you could go post that over there, and then my thinking is if a lot of people go, like if you post this that you want this video, and then a lot of people go and like upvote it. It wouldn't be upvoting, but like comment or like add emojis to it. Then I think that will be a good tell if a lot of people actually want this, or if this is like super like niche. I mean, I don't want to build it. I don't need it for my app is the thing. So it's going to be like way less likely for me to build this if I don't need it for my app. And really like my thinking of it is if it isn't going to impact, like if it isn't going to be something I would use on my app, then I would probably make it as like a paid course, and it would be like I would build it and charge people for it, versus where the YouTube ones they're free because it's kind of like this is like the side effect of me building my app, and then recording the video is just extra in a way. But yeah, you could go post it there, and I will consider it. Yeah, web version of Brew Crew. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Brew Crew is your app. Yeah, appreciate it. This is a good length now. So how to manage state after login with, I mean, I don't know. I haven't used MobX. Let's see. Yeah, Firebase and Provider. That's basically what I do, or what I've been doing. I haven't used Block at all, so I don't even know. I've like looked into the concept of it, but I haven't used it. I wonder how many people use like the actual provider. Like how many people are actually using the provider package, like the Dart package, versus just using an inherited widget. Because I am just using like a custom inherited widget that I named provider, but it's not actually. So it is like the provider, but it isn't the provider package. And I'm thinking probably the provider package has some benefits to it. Like there's probably a lot of it. I was looking into it a bit more, and it seems like it just removes a lot more boilerplate code, and you can get like there's kind of like some built-in things that make using that inherited widget easier. My app is also quite simple, so there's only really one provider. Like there's only one inherited widget that provides really just like two things. It's like authentication and like a database connection to Firebase. But I would imagine if your app is more complex, or as my app gets more complex, I might need multiple providers. Or that's a pattern I've seen talked about a little bit. But yeah, I don't know yet how that all fits in. I still have to look into that a bit more. Yeah, side effect of building your own app. I'm not sure. Maybe that was just related back to the videos I was talking about. Oh yeah, using the user's data on multiple pages, you can definitely do that with Provider and yeah, just Firebase. Got it. Yeah, I have not followed that one. Yeah, in-app purchase, that's definitely on my list. That's definitely on my list of things to build out. That is something that definitely I want to put in my app. I need to, for in-app purchases though, you need something, or I need something I need to build out the part that will get purchased first is kind of the thing. So once I do that, then I'll do the in-app purchases. But yeah. What's the average age of a successful startup founder? To what age will you keep trying? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the average age. I would imagine it's like in the 30s, like 30s, late 30s. I don't think 20s is realistic. Like there's like for sure those big stories and those like really, I mean like Apple and Microsoft, and like they were all in their 20s when they like started their whole thing. So it's possible, but those are kind of like, I feel like the outliers. I mean, they're the outliers in like certain ways. So maybe if you are able to get a startup running in your 20s, you then have the potential to be like the biggest companies. But I mean, that's definitely not my goal. It's not my realistic goal. Like I don't think I'm going to get anywhere to a scale like that, and I don't necessarily even want anywhere to a scale like that. I mean, the goal for me is really to just make enough money to like replace my income and like be my own boss. But yeah, no, I guess I'll keep trying until I either get it or I give up. It's hard to say. It's hard to say when you'll give up, but things always change, things come up in life, and you no longer, you change your priorities, you change what you want. Like if you don't, you want something for a certain amount of time, and then if you don't get it by then, you might change your mind completely and either realize you don't want it or realize you don't want to put in the effort to get. You don't want it enough to put in the effort to get it is another way to think about it. Because I do think anyone is capable of doing this stuff. Like I think anyone is capable of building a successful mobile app and all of that, but it is a lot of work. So it depends on if you want to put in all that work and that time. What are my thoughts on Starlink satellite internet? Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Why not, right? Like if we can get, I don't know, it's fun about it, but if we can get internet from a satellite and it's reliable and it can replace both your Wi-Fi and your cell service, then and you just pay like one thing, it could be cheaper for everyone, and as long as it's more reliable too. Like my Wi-Fi is not always that great, my cell service is not always that great, so I don't know, I kind of feel like it'll be a long time before any sort of like satellite internet would be better quality. But I guess if we want internet on the whole earth, that's one way to do it. I don't know that it's necessarily necessary. I don't know that it is necessary to have internet everywhere on earth, but that's definitely where a lot of people are trying to do. It's definitely what we're pushing towards. Let's see. Yeah, a founder at 50. There we go. Yeah, another thing for me is like, I don't know, like it's almost like it's a hobby in a way. Like it can be a hobby as well. Like you can go and work any regular job or have like a day job doing something completely different, and then kind of like play around with programming or app development, game development, website development, and do that as like kind of like, yeah, a hobby, like something to do. And it's really just, a lot of it is kind of like a puzzle too. So if you enjoy solving problems and like figuring things out, which becomes like, so like that, even saying that is like people, it's kind of like that, just kind of like the stuff that people say in interviews, which just kind of like makes them sound like they're, oh, I like solving problems, and it's kind of bullshit, but it's true to an extent, I guess, as well. Like if you do like puzzles or like solving things or like figuring things out, it's really about like figuring things out, like how does this work, like figuring out how things work. Then programming will be, I think, enjoyable generally. When it becomes unenjoyable is when it's like you're trying to get something to work that you don't even want, or that you don't even really care about. So it's like, if you don't care about figuring out like how an app works or how to develop an app, you're not going to care about figuring out how to get it to work. So I don't know, like think about how many people don't know how to do any type of programming, right? And they just use their phone and they just use it, and they don't even have like the slightest idea of how that stuff is working. They just know how to scroll through their feed, and they know how to like a picture, but they don't know how any of that is set up. I don't know. I enjoy knowing or figuring out how that stuff is set up. So yeah, even if it doesn't become like a successful business, I think I'll still continue to essentially like hack away at these things and try and figure them out. My LinkedIn is just my name, Dave Feliski. I don't really use LinkedIn too much. I guess I only use LinkedIn if I'm looking for a job, which I'm not right now. So it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'll open it every now and then. I'll open it when I'm like unemployed looking for work, but other than that, I don't update it or anything. How to design better UI of mobile apps or improve skill in designing UI. Yeah, this is something I for sure also struggle with, is like how to make an app look better. Um, a few things, I mean, a few things that have helped me, definitely reading that Don't Make Me Think book, which I did make a quick video about, like a review video about. That book is good in just getting you into the mindset of kind of like the user. And coming back to kind of what I was just saying about like having that mindset of like figuring out technology and like knowing like how things work. If you have that mindset, then you're not a typical user, because you're gonna like use an app differently. You're gonna be kind of using it and like thinking like, oh wow, this is okay, this works like this. This is like, I wonder how this is working on the back end and like stuff like that. But the normal user doesn't think like that at all, or like the typical user wouldn't think like that at all. And they're more about just like, what am I supposed to do here? What do I do on this page? Like, what's the purpose of this? And getting into that mindset is very useful when you're doing like design and stuff. I also like to go on like Dribble and just kind of look at these essentially they're just like design mock-ups of like ideas of apps. Excuse me. But yeah, looking through that is also like a good place for inspiration, because you can find like trends, and it's also these are just like designers, and the designers are, I don't know, you can see they all kind of have the same. I mean, there's like a few different design aesthetics, and then a lot of designers are really just, I mean, like anyone, like in any field, are just copying each other and kind of like using that same pattern. But there's a reason for that too, because there is a concept of good design. Like, a lot of people will say design is subjective, which it is, but there is a difference between good and bad design, and almost anyone can spot it. So it's nice to go and look at like what these people who are spending all their time doing design, what they're doing, and then copy them as well. Yeah, also like download apps that are really popular and be mindful of the design of them. So, I mean, like, look at actually any popular app and think about how it's laid out, and like actually visually look at the stuff. Like, if you ever try to draw, here's another thing. Like, if you ever try and draw something like where you're doing a sketch of like something that's like sitting on a table there, a lot of times if you don't draw, you'll just like draw it how you think it looks, and you'll start drawing lines that aren't there, and you'll start drawing things that, like, you'll start drawing the shape of something that the way you think it looks. But if you really look at it and you look at what you're drawing, a lot of times that's not how the shape looks. It's like completely, it's actually like not what you think. The lines are like slightly in different areas. I don't know. So yeah, being more mindful of like other people's design is, I think, very useful. Let's see. Yeah, it's like a puzzle to me as well, like programming. The marketing part, yeah, and the screenshots. For sure. I agree. Like, those are much less fun, but it does give you, I mean, I always get like kind of a rewarding feeling when I finish that part of it and they're done like, well, not the marketing part, but the screenshot part, or like making like assets for something. But yeah, marketing is a whole nother, that's like a whole nother thing as well. Like, people spend their whole careers in marketing. So that's something I'm definitely have been learning a lot more about, is like the marketing side of things, and in like digital marketing. And that's something I definitely do plan to like talk more about on this channel. I have been saying that a lot, but I still need to get my app to a point where it's like worth marketing, to be honest with you. Like it's not really there yet. It's not really there yet to waste marketing time on, as I think I need to get it more, which I don't know. I go back and forth on that as well, because it's also like you need to get users to validate the idea and get you feedback. Like that's valuable and that's useful, and yes, that's something you should do as early as possible, versus like wasting more time developing something that you might not even need. But then the other side is like, I already know there's like certain things that can definitely be done better, and I have gotten some feedback, and I do need to update some things based on that. So it's like I need to do that, and then look into the marketing more. But yeah, I'll be definitely sharing more marketing stuff. Instagram, all my links for like social are on actually the new website. So I talked about this like in the very, very beginning, so maybe no one was in the stream, but I did just launch this website, and let's see. There we go. So yeah, I did just launch this website. All of my social links are down the bottom. And yeah, LinkedIn's not there because I don't really use it. Here's a nice issue right here. Like on this screen breakpoint, these images like overlap, so there's something to be fixed. But yeah, that responsive design too, that's a whole nother pain. Flutter with like mobile apps as well is actually a thing as well, because you use this iPhone. This is like the iPhone 12, I think, in this picture, and everything looks great on here. But then you go and you run it on an iPhone 5, which is like essentially like this big in comparison, and everything. If you don't write your code right, everything does not look good. Everything like overflows and looks horrible. But yeah, check out the website. This also will have the books of kind of the books I was talking about. Join the Discord community, and probably I'm going to wrap up this stream now, but let's see. I'll do a few more. I'll do these last few questions, and then that'll be about it. Let's see. When you're going to launch Discord server and web app, it's already launched. They're both already live. You go there, you go. OneManStartup.com. Go to the website, and the website has a link to the Discord. So that'll be the easiest way to get all of that. And yeah, we can continue all this conversation through Discord, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that will be it for today then. All right. Ciao for now.